Right then, now I'm going to show you how I actually tie up my rigs. I use ESP rig shrink tubing, high performance ESP swivels, I've only got one left in there, 15-pound camo sync link braid, and Corda wide gate B size 10 hooks. This is the piece of braid that I'm using. It's quite long because I'm going to be tying a Palomar knot to connect the swivel to it, which needs quite a bit of slack, so you get quite a bit of wasted braid. First of all, what you do is you get your fingers in a loop, you get a loop in your braid, and then you tie a simple overhand knot, thread the loop through there, but then you don't want the loop of, because this is going to be your hair eventually, you don't want the loop too long, because then the fish might see the knot, so you just work the loop up towards the top of the loop, and that's fine, that's a perfect length really. And then you cut off the excess that you've got there. Right, as you can see, I've just cut that off now. And then you grab your hook, grab the other end of the braid and thread it through the back of the eye, drag it down. And now this is one of the hardest bits. You need to determine how long you want your hair to be. I'm going to be using around 15mm, 14mm boilies. So that's maybe a bit longer. That's sort of the length that I want, because I want quite a bit of freedom of movement. And then you wrap the braid around the shank of the hook once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. And then you grab the other end of the braid again and thread it back through the back of the eye, and then pull it through, and now that's held on by a knotless knot. I've never had any problems by that. But now I'm gonna thread this little piece of shrink tubing down through the braid, and that's gonna cover up that knot and the eye of the hook. It helps kick the hook out and to tidy up the knot, but you need to boil the kettle first to get some hot water and some steam, so I'm going to do that now. Right then, for this bit you need some hot water. First of all, I'm just going to put a bit in the dish, and I'm going to grab the hook with my forceps, bit fiddly, and then I'm going to push this in the hot water against the bottom of the dish. This is just to try and get a bit more angle on the shrink tubing as it shrinks, to obviously again to just increase the chance of it catching hold when it's in the fish's mouth. Don't need to hold it there too long. That's about right, as you can see. A bit more of an angle on there. Now I'm going to need the kettle back on the stand. It won't take long to boil again now. And then I'm going to hold shrink tubing and the hook over the spout, and as you might be able to see, it's shrunk down, and grab hold of the shank of the hook and the braid. Right then, that's the end product of that. The shrink tubing shrunk down to quite a small size, tight to the eye of the hook, and that obviously tidies up the knot and helps to kick the hook out. Right then, now you're going to tie the swivel on. This is how you'll get your main line on to the rig. You thread the braid through one way, and then back through, so that you get a loop similar to how you tied the knot on the hair rig. And then you do a overhand knot, like so, with the loop coming out this side. Seems a bit fiddly, but it's worth it because I've never had this knot fail on me. And then you grab the swivel, you bring it up and thread it through there. There we go. And then you bring the knot down slowly, tighten it up, and as you can see, that's a very good knot. And then you'll have to trim off the excess. Alright then, here's the end product of the rig I've just tied. Start at this end, swivel tied to the braid by a Palomar knot, and I'll also tie the main line to this end of the swivel with a Palomar knot. Not a very long rig, 3 inches I suppose, a bit longer. And then down to the eye of the hook, the braid's tied onto there with a knotless knot, and then covered by a piece of shrink tubing. The hair come out a bit longer than I would have wanted, but I said I wanted to tie them a bit longer and it wouldn't really matter. And then a Corda wide gate B hook, as I already mentioned. So yeah, that's the rigs that I'm using. I've caught 11 fish on them in 3 sessions so far, so hopefully I can have some more in the sessions to come.